I hope you're having an amazing day. My name is Colin. In this video, we're going to have a look at Blur, review of what has happened during the airdrop, everything you need to know in order to get an indication of the price movement. So the Blur airdrop obviously did extremely well, quite significant, had some nice personal gains on that as well. And we're going to have a look what is going to happen with the vesting, how much is the DeFi value locked. It all looks extremely interesting. So currently Blur is up in the 24 hours about 44%. Current market cap sitting just under 400 million. We're looking at a fully diluted value of 3.3 billion. Tradable volume was over a billion not too long ago. Now it just went under $958 million. Circulating supply, we're looking at about 12%. Yeah, and I assume that's all for the airdrop. So interesting movement here. Of course, you have almost no volume here, 17,000, which basically means, somebody found the contract, added liquidity, all these things. Then it basically dumped when the tokens were unlocked. It went as low as 50 cents. I think the original listing, I'm not too sure how CoinMarketCap tracked it, but I think they were going to list on 30 cents. So basically it was picked up immediately. A lot of people obviously sold their airdrop. You can see the volume going up massively, basically from 17,000 to 26 million, 40 million in a matter of, 45 minutes. Then it ran up, went down a little bit, 76 cents. And then basically as soon as it crossed $1 billion in volume, it went up to 1.2 billion almost. You're looking at about just under $1. And then at some point, the interesting tweets came through my feed, 84% of the airdrop has been claimed. Then of course the sell pressure is being removed from the market and the price slowly moved up. Now the question is, where is it going to go from here? What are the indicators that you might take into consideration? I was very surprised, not gonna lie. I sold 50% of my holdings, so I had about 6,000 tokens. So I sold at about 84 cents. I sold half, and I'm still holding half at the moment. Very happy, free money, right? The airdrop, which is quite interesting. If we look at the trend, right? The amount of volume, the utility for the token, obviously it's all speculation at this point, but there are some really important indicators. When we look at the markets, we look at KuCoin, we got Coinbase, Kraken, but that volume doesn't even add up to that much, right? The main volume is driven here on Uniswap, having over almost, we're looking at 200 million. What's interesting, OKX also has 200 million, right? So that's definitely the leading exchange, centralized exchange right here. We got Bybit, we got Huobi, we got Gate, all pushing about 20 to 30 million. Then we got L-Bank also doing 30 million, quite impressive, right? We got Bitmart with 42 million. So yeah, they have a huge variety of exchanges, but of course Binance is not there yet on the list, which might make it a lot more interesting if they could potentially get that going in the future. Token was at about 240 yesterday when it was about 75 cents. Of course now it's almost in the top 100, which would be a very, very interesting move there. Markets, quite interesting. Obviously, the liquidity is flowing into the NFT market, right? So if we go to Opensea, we go to the stats, we go to the rankings, we can see that almost all of the collections are up quite significantly, because how would you be eligible for this token? Participate in bidding, trading, selling, buying on Blur, which basically means that a lot of these NFT traders basically got their cut of this $350 million airdrop. And then what do the degens do? I would assume 90% of them, they sell it and they buy more NFTs. And we can see definitely a lot of pump in the NFT market today. So that's good to see. Some traction, some movement, very, very nice. Well, of course, there are some interesting indicators. Let's first go to track digits. Still the alpha version, good information here. If you're looking to get your hands on these indicators, there's a free link in the description. You can sign up and create your free alpha account. So it will be a while until the next unlock. The tokenomics are very basic. When we're looking at the overview, we can see that 12% of the Blur what immediately airdropped, right? And then we have, in addition to this, relative some text, right? There will be the trading period is October 19 until February 14th. So that ran for quite a while. Then the advisors, but they have quite a long lockup. and then we have seed and pre-seed. So we got in contact with Blur numerous times to get the pricing. That was unfortunately, they didn't want to release that, it's confidential, but definitely we're looking at interesting move. What are they going to do until June 14th when these are being released? And I assume if it's pushed into the top 100, the gains will be extremely significant, and there's quite large percentages on there as well. This is just the release schedule for the investors as a good indicator when these moves are going to happen. So that's basically from June onwards, and it's a very, very slow linear progression. So although there will be sell pressure because it's a large portion of the tokenomics, at the same time it's being eased into the market. When I say east, I'm still clarifying that's still $32 million, right? $32.5 million at the current value. If the value moves up, obviously this value also goes up. When we look at the circulating supply, from that moment onward in June, still quite far away, right? But they're adding 8% into circulation every single month. There has to be some good utility for the tokens at that point. Otherwise, it is definitely not a good thing, right? Trading volume, I assume the trading volume will go down a little bit. 1 billion, I don't assume is sustainable. So this percentage will go up. Again, leveraging this percentage, that would indicate more sell pressure. Tokenomics, because of such a big airdrop campaign and how the marketing is scheduled in 3 phases from Blur, I'm not too worried about the big marketing percentage. They are backed by Paradigm, which I assume they influence the marketing go-to-market strategy quite a bit. So I'm more worried about these 2 big chunks, and I will find a way to get the pricing. It might take some time, but that's very much interesting information, because if the returns, if we're talking 25 50x, the amounts are so significant that they'll definitely be liquidated. But if there's 5 months to find it, I'm sure that will not be a problem. Price movement not available yet because it was just released, of course. There's not been a measurement there yet, but interesting indicators already. Although it's so far out, at least the tokenomics, the vesting is clear, and the tokenomics breakdown is relatively easy to understand. Now if we go to Twitter, we can basically see they've been extremely active, of course, right? This is not something I'm super interested in. One thing that I'm interested in is the relative volume from Blur to Opensea. Now, Opensea has a relative passive strategy at the moment. They are releasing new features, like when Blur had the floor sweeper, they implemented the floor sweeper. It has a little bit less functionality, but it is definitely interesting. Now, one of the interesting indicators here is that Blur, excluding watch trading, right? This is from June Analytics, so we assume this is somewhat accurate. They're taking a lot of volume over the last, month. Do take into consideration that people were obviously pushing that volume because they want to unlock the airdrop, right? One important factor is a lot of people are asking why is Opensea not pushing a token and might not implement the same. It has to do, in my opinion, relative to their business strategy. I assume they're working towards an IPO, and a token, cryptocurrency token, would extremely complicate this a lot. If not make it impossible, right? So Opensea has a different business foundation than Blur does. Obviously, with the establishment, the money of the race, the investors that are active on Opensea, it is a completely different model, different strategy from the foundation, although they're both marketplaces. Good opportunity for Blur, though, to penetrate the market. Also interesting, and I did verify this, an overview from DeFi Llama on the Ethereum blockchain. The amount of total value locked has significantly gone up in terms of the staking, right? And I have DeFi Llama right here with the yield rankings, and currently you're looking at about 1,000% APY. Just on this pool alone, it's over 10 million. We're talking about 6 million here, which is extremely interesting, because this is reminds me of LuxRare, what they did with significant returns just to lock up liquidity, remove coins from the market, to basically reward also the people that have a longer term vision, and then provide them with the DeFi aspect as well, because obviously this is very much an NFT marketplace. Incorporating that component might sustain the hype. Moving from season 1 into season 2, as you can see, I haven't been active at all yet. It's only been a day. The leaderboard is already pumping. People are already doing an insane amount of trades. I checked some of these wallets and they hold an incredible amount of NFTs. I just ran this one and it has like $13.4 million worth of NFTs. So definitely don't aim to be in the top 500 or the top 1,000 if you're a small fish. I did about, what did I do? I did a significant amount of volume in terms of trades over the last 4 months, just through Blur, maybe $50,000 or something like this, across a variety of multiple wallets, depending on what the NFT collection was about. Do check if the NFT collection is viable. You can check that here. And what the most interesting thing is, I got about $5,000-6,000 worth, because apparently the one collection that I was quite keen of had a doubler or something like this. I didn't even, go in detail. I didn't even try to make any money of it. I just saw the announcement in my Twitter feed. I mean, money machine goes whatever. That was all over the feed, right? So definitely an interesting indicator to read that as well. They have an interesting royalty policy now to outmarket Opensea, which is a good indicator for people that believe in the Blur token, to basically go into more detail on why the royalties are being enforced. So basically they say enforced minimum royalty. Before they had the blocks, right? And basically they say, in a nutshell, it comes down to block the Opensea listing, and then you get this from us. It's like a push out strategy. This one is not as amazing, the explanation from Blur. It's quite clear, but also legally quite clear. If you look at the threads that people are writing on crypto Twitter, just search Blur and then scroll a little bit. It has a lot more details of the marketing components, why it's interesting. It's kind of like a dick move to do, but it does show that they're quite aggressive in terms of taking more market share, right? Season 2 is now active. It will now run, and basically then you have another opportunity. When we look at obviously valuations, right? So we want to sketch a prediction for this token to see where it's going to go. In realistic terms, right? We're looking at a 400 million valuation and a 3.2 billion valuation. That's obviously ridiculous, right? It's crypto, it's mad, it's an insane house. This token caters to NFT degens as well, as those got the biggest portion. That makes it even worse. Hence my reasoning for selling, 50% of my holdings, basically 25% lower than what it is now. I just didn't want to take the risk. Risk management is important. Diamond handing is bullshit, in my opinion, right? You invest relative to the risk for rewards. If you never liquidate, you never take any profits, you expose yourself to too much risk, right? We learned this in 2017 when I was there. I learned this again in 2021. Although in 2017, I took 99% risk. And in 2021, I only took like 18% risk, 16%. So I did really well there. And I'm sticking with that methodology. Rather get out too early than too late, right? And then splitting it with the dollar cost average strategy up as down has always suited me quite well. Keep things simple, follow the plan, right? One thing that is a good indicator is to basically think what is going to happen in the next 4 months, because these signals, they don't look good. Right now it's pumping, it's hyped. We're looking at $1 billion tradable volume. That is not sustainable for this token, right? If we're looking at any of the top 100 tokens, let's go and open 2 or 3 of them, right? Let's take number 100, 99, and Casper. These are all tradable tokens. We're looking at 55 million, 9 million, 11 million, right? It obviously is relative to the exchanges as well that they're listed on. So 1 inch is obviously quite a big token, or at least has a lot of marketing hype and potential. We're looking again at 50 million. So the volume going down relative to the hype dying out, relative to no clear utility for this token at the moment, I see this indicator worrying. And this means if the volume drops, this percentage goes up, which is again not a good signal. Then if 32 million enters the market, depending on the market cap, it would be something to worry about if we know the ROI. But the expertise on tokenomics from what I've seen, I would say the ROI here, specifically from pre-seed and seed, if those are the only two they took, will be extremely significant, right? So definitely in the near future, I will make an update video, maybe a month, 2 months from now, to see what these indicators then look like to make a more accurate decision. But it is an extremely interesting project. I am going to have a more focused look at season 2, what it might bring, what the opportunities might be, and how to structure these things. But definitely not too interested in holding this token, because I love utility on a token. They have the user base, but this is more rewarding people to take action, and that is, in my opinion, artificial engagement. If they, with their marketing planning, can turn that into real engagement, then I'll be a lot more of a fan of this token. But let's see, it's still early. Very interesting what they have done with the go-to-market campaign. Token value, I think, is overvalued at the minute based on the indicators from just a simple business point of view. So it might do well this week, it might do well next week. They can create some more buzz, they can create some more announcements and partnerships. But when we're saying this platform is worth 390 million in the current conditions, with a fully diluted value of 3.2 billion, in my opinion, that's just delusional. And some things we sometimes see in Twitter, crypto, Twitter and crypto, when the hype is just too real. You know, and if you take into consideration that 99% in crypto lose money, those are probably the 99% of people that also push the hype, push the buzz, and we love crypto for it. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just something to take into consideration. And at the end of the day, it's just my opinion. If you're interested in track digits, check the free link in the description for a free alpha account. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.